Good morning, guys. It is now 6 a.m. We are all getting dressed and ready for our trip up into Washington, D.C. because we are not fully in it. We're in Virginia. We're on the outside of Washington, D.C., which is why when we take our bus, we will be officially going in. But for the most part, we are here, but we're just in a different part of the state. You guys still understand. So we are going to finish getting ready and then do like a quick an outfit thing because we have to brush our hair, teeth, and I just want to show you guys like aesthetic at the moment. I posted this on my on my Instagram story, but I wanted to show you guys on here if you don't have me. Like aesthetic. Hang on a second, let me fix that. Like aesthetic, my Aaron jacket, my marshmallow jacket, and then those two. Like yes. So we're gonna finish getting ready and then I'll give you guys an update. Okay? Bye. Well, I know I definitely am because I don't know if we're supposed to come back up here, so I'm just gonna bring myself just in case. I also am cold, I also am cold right now, so just wearing this makes me feel a lot better. So I'm not taking it off.
I thought you said I'm actually pole right now.
Yeah,
I'm
pole.
like, what?
Yeah, I'm pole right now, guys. Yeah, I'm pole. I'm actually cold right now, really, because they turned our heat off when we said we were fine because they knew we would get hot. That's not the problem. Our problem is that we are cold. When we woke up, we were all shivering. We were like penguins. We could have huddled together for warmth. So let us look at the beautiful sunshine from our beautiful. Yeah, I forgot. We have this view. It's a good
Well,
view.
we can kind of go.
We could see the beautiful downstairs.
Well, I think if we go like over here, it has. Like,
Yeah, there we go. We'll pretend we're over there. We can see the Hilton. Yeah. So we just finished breakfast, and we're going to the buses earlier than what we were planned to, which is kind of good in a sense because now we have more time. So we're gonna head on the bus, and then we're gonna head straight into DC.
Our first stop's going to be Arlington National Cemetery. We're going to be outside probably for a couple hours. So when we get there and we get off the bus, make sure you got your warm clothes with you because we're going to be walking around for a few hours, a couple hours, not a few, as we tour the cemetery. We're going to pick up another guide over there that's going to be on the other bus also. So both buses, as we're moving around through the town today, will have the benefit of a guide, narration, and to understand what they're seeing and answer questions and stuff like that. So, yeah, sit back, relax, and I'll give you a little bit more information as we roll down the highway.
This used to be Arlington Plantation.
Robert E. Lee used to live in the mansion up there behind the trees. If we come around the bend here, you'll see the mansion up there. When the Civil War broke out, President Lincoln sent a group of emissaries over here to fetch Robert E. Lee to come to the White House because he wanted Robert E. Lee to command the Union forces. Robert E. Lee sent word back to the president that he couldn't do that yet because Virginia had not decided what it was going to do as far as the war was going to be. Well, Virginia seceded from the Union, and Robert E. Lee went to Alexandria, Virginia, which is right across the river here, met up with 61 members of the Virginia militia. They marched to Richmond, and he became the general for the Southern forces. Right as the Civil War broke out, the Union troops came over here. We're in Virginia, remember that. Came over here and occupied this entire plantation. They had cannons and big guns, mortars, all surrounding the mansion up there because it's on a hill. And if this area right here were to fall into Southern hands, they would never be able to get it back because of its defense capabilities being up on the hill. And they're right across the river from Washington, D.C. They could have decimated Washington, D.C. with cannon fire from this location right here. So this was a very, very strategic location to hold on to. They had troops all throughout this cemetery. They had ammunition, they had guns, they had livestock, food, things like that. It was all, this whole place was a huge Union military stronghold. Okay, after the war was over, the Lee family, during the course of the war, they lost the property because of a failure to pay their property taxes. At that time in our history, you had to personally show up to pay your property taxes. You couldn't do it by the mail or anything like that. And that wasn't going to happen with the general of the Southern armies. So they confiscated the land after the Civil War. During the course of the war, though, behind the mansion, the Lee family had started a cemetery. And there were some of their relatives and siblings. They were buried back there. During the war, if you were not an officer, the chances of you being able to read and write were real slim because you weren't educated. Only the officers were educated. So there was no identification like there is today. They didn't have dog tags, they didn't have papers, they didn't have anything on them. So if somebody got killed and someone else couldn't positively identify that person, say, I know who that is, I know his parents, I know where they're from, that person was listed as an unknown soldier. And by the end of the war, there was over 2,000 Union unknown soldiers buried around the Lee mansion in the cemetery that they'd already started. That's when this became what it is today, Arlington National Cemetery. There's over 300,000 headstones in this cemetery. Now there's more than that buried here because they've got a columbarium where people that are cremated are buried, and it's way over on the other side of the cemetery. These white headstones we're looking at, these are the headstones that are given to the family by the government. They're free, and they're all on the front of these headstones are the information about the person that's buried there. You see, most of them have crosses on them. That's signifying their Christianity. Some of them you'll see, like over there, there's a religious emblem. There's a Star of David right behind me. Just kind of tells you what the Christianity of that person was that's buried there. And then the information of that person is on the front. Who they are, when they were born, when they died, what branch of the military they were in. All the information about the veteran that's buried there is on the front of it. On the back, you'll see names on the backs of some of these things. Any minor child, any spouse could be buried with that person, and their names will be on the back of it, okay?
All right, we're headed up the hill. We got to get to the tomb of the unknown soldiers.
Well, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna walk in front of me and cut me off, I'll walk back straight. That's a pretty one. The side of my foot kind of hurts.
I just want to tell y'all what you're going to see when we get up there because I can't talk to you. Not up there. At the tomb is the United States Army. They're on watch. And the watch of the sentry is 30 paces. He's on a black mat, 30 paces from one side to the other side. Stops, faces the tomb, pauses, faces the other direction, moves his rifle to the other side, 30 paces back. They're on watch for 1 hour. The tomb itself, on the front of it, says, "Here rests in honor and glory an American soldier known but to God." That soldier was killed in World War I, and the body has never been able to be identified. It was so badly mutilated that they couldn't identify this person. This person represents all of those military personnel that lost their lives in World War I. On the ground are flat markers. There's 3 of them. Underneath one of them are the remains of an unknown soldier from World War II. Another one holds the remains of a soldier from the Korean War. The center one is now dedicated to all those military personnel in active duty and missing in action. It used to have the remains of a soldier from Vietnam. Years after it was put there, they started researching. DNA came on the scene. All of a sudden, we've got DNA. They were able to identify this soldier through his DNA and found out that he was a lieutenant in the Air Force and he was from Missouri. They contacted his parents and they said, "We want to bring him home so we can visit his gravesite more often." So they disinterred that soldier and shipped him back to Missouri. And now that tomb is empty, representing our dedication to all our American servicemen on duty today. One of the things I like you to notice is the guard doesn't wear any rank because they don't know who's buried there. They don't want to outrank the person that's buried there. The commander of the watch will come up and come to the center and tell you this is the changing of the guard ceremony. That's the only person that's going to have any rank on their shoulder. The guard, he'll go back to the end. There'll be a guard waiting at the far right side to stand inspection. And that commander will go back and do a physical inspection of his uniform, make sure that everything's looking the way it's supposed to be, and then they'll come together, they'll exchange orders, and the guard that's on duty will step off, the new guard will step on, and then commander and the guard that's on watch will leave. A few minutes later, the commander will come back around and make an announcement that this is a wreath presentation dedicated from Silver Sands Middle School students. Okay, and he'll be right there in the middle. That's where the wreath presentation comes from. He'll go up the steps, meet the wreath presenters, bring them down to the tomb. They'll present a wreath in the name of Silver Springs Middle School. They'll step back, and there's a bugler over there that will play taps right at the end of the ceremony. Okay? All right, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Staff Sergeant Courtney of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army, Guard of Honor, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you. Recent. Arms. Halt. Arms. Ready. Pace. Pass. On your orders.
Halt and orders. Remain as directed.
Orders. Act now. Ready. Pace. Present. Arms. Right shoulder. Arm. Post. Right. Pace. Forward. March. Guard. Halt. Hold up.
attention, please. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the Army Reclaim Ceremony to be conducted by Silver Sands Middle School. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during this ceremony. All military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute, and it is appropriate for all others to place their right hand over their heart upon the command of present arms. Thank you.
Set! Up!
This is an amphitheater. It's called Arlington Amphitheater, and they have special things that take place here on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. They'll have Navy band, maybe the Marine band set up there on the stage, and it's all free. And all around inside the amphitheater, they hang red, white, and blue bunting way up high. They drape all the balconies here with flags. They've got flags hanging between all the columns, and they do patriotic music on Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and then during the summer, they'll just have an occasional concert over here featuring the military bands. So that's what this is, Arlington Amphitheater. Amphitheater's 2 words, ampha, Greek, meaning outdoors, and theater. So that's what this is right here. It's all marble. Anybody have any questions about the ceremony they just saw? Again, that was the United States Army that conducted that. A lot of people think that that's the Marine Corps. Do you have a question?
Yes. What happens after the using that box? I know they dropped something off. It was like
I'm sorry, I
like,
didn't.
you know, when we were watching the go back and forth.
Yes.
Like something fell off. Like, do you know what happens when the button falls off?
Well, if that were to happen, if that's the case, it would stay there. They don't stop the ceremony to do that. Yeah. There's only about 200 people in that part of the Army. That's known as the Old Guard. It's the highest honor that you can achieve in the Army as an honor guard, is to be recommended for and included to the Old Guard. The pin that they wear, there's only one medal in this military that's more rare than that one, and it's the astronaut medal. That's how exceptional it is to become a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, a guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Okay?
So the camera died.
These 3 memorials here, the one on the right here, dedicated to the challenge in Africa. The one on the other side, Challenger astronauts on the left, Columbia astronauts on the right. One of the Force personnel that lost their lives trying to rescue hostages from the country of Iran. In 1980, people from the country of Iran stormed the American embassy, and they occupied it, and they held everybody prisoners there for over a year. Over 400 days they were held prisoners inside the American embassy in Iran. Well, during that time, President Jimmy Carter authorized a late evening rescue attempt, and 2 helicopters flew into the embassy and went into land to secure the embassy and get those hostages freed, and the whole thing went bad, and both of those helicopters crashed, and all those people on those helicopters lost their life in that rescue attempt. That is what that memorial is all about. They made a movie of it. It's called Argo, and if you've ever seen it, if you've ever read the book, it's a great read. That's dedicated to those personnel that lost their lives trying to rescue the hostages in 1980. Okay? Good place to stop. We're looking at the backs of the tombstone, of the headstones here. You can see there's a lot of people that are buried with the veteran there. Any spouse, any child under the age of 18 is allowed to be buried in the same spot as the veteran. And those names are on the backs of the headstones here. These headstones, these white ones, they're lined up in perfect order. They're standing for their final inspection. If you've ever been to a military parade, a graduation ceremony or something like that, they've got these groups, rectangular groups that are all marching in unison with one another. And when they stop for inspection, they're all perfectly lined up. That inspecting officer can walk across the front of them and they're all lined up, walk down the side of them and they're all lined up. And that's the way all of these white headstones are set up. They're set up to look like they're standing for their final inspection. Now, as we get into different parts of the cemetery, you'll see some different ones. Some of them are huge. They look like the Washington Monument, big structures. Those were bought by the family for their loved one. They wanted something more elaborate than the white headstone, okay? The rules have changed over the years. This cemetery is over 600 acres, but it's running out of room. So if anybody wants to be, I shouldn't say wants to, the only way you can be buried into the ground in the cemetery is to be a 25-year retired military veteran or be killed in action. Any veteran is eligible for burial in the cemetery, but if they don't have one of those two qualifications, their remains have to be cremated, and the ashes are put into a columbarium way over on the other side of the cemetery. But all military veterans with an honorable discharge are eligible to be buried for free right here in Arlington Cemetery. Yes. Yes, there are. Is there a limit to how many people? 3. And what they do is they bury them at different levels. If there's 3 people buried there, they'll go down 9 feet, then they'll do the second one at 6 feet, and then they'll do the last one at 3 feet. But they'll only allow 3 people to be buried in the same area. Okay? We got to go down the staircase here, and then up the staircase on the other side. We're headed for the grave sites of John F. Kennedy and his family. It's called the Eternal Flame.
Oh yeah. I was born to be buried here. Me a privilege.
Yeah. The whole center of the Pentagon is open. So
Yeah.
there's 2 helicopter landing pads in there.
I've been to the Pentagon.
Oh,
before.
okay, yeah.
Is there an airport near here?
Yeah,
Yes.
a national airport.
Andrews, right?
Yeah, that's a military airport. Yeah, there's a commercial airport down here. Reagan National Airport right down the road. Yeah, there's another military base east of Capitol Building called, well, Fort Myers sitting back here, and that house up there is where Robert E. Lee used to live. That's the Custis Lee Mansion. They've got it all blocked off right now because they're doing a lot of refurbishing inside. They want to fix it back up and make it look like the Lee family, like it did when the Lee family lived there. A lot like they did at Mount Vernon. Up on the hill, if you look hard to the left, you see a big marker up there with a wreath on the front of it. That's where General Sheridan is buried. He's from the Civil War. Okay, The next thing you'll see is a piece that looks like a table up there. That's the graveside of a man named Pierre Lafont. He is the designer of Washington, D.C. He laid the whole city out. This is the way it's going to look when we're done with it. And then the far one over there, with a little point on it, that's a memorial marker to the unknown soldiers from the Civil War. There's 3 markers up there. As we go along the wall right here, these are all Kennedy, members of the Kennedy family. The first one here is Joseph P. Kennedy, oldest son, killed in World War II. He was a distinguished pilot. The next marker you see, wooden cross, that's where Ted Kennedy is buried. Ted Kennedy was a senator from Massachusetts, also in the military. He was in the United States Senate for over 30 years. And then you'll see another one as we go into a bigger area there, another wooden cross. That's where Robert Kennedy is buried. He's another brother of President John Kennedy. He was assassinated in Los Angeles, California, 5 years after President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. He was campaigning for the Democratic nomination to run for president, and he was at a hotel in Los Angeles, California when he was shot down. And he's buried, the third one, you can see the wooden cross there now. And then we'll go around to where the Kennedy family president, wife Jacqueline, 2 infant children are buried next to them on either side. One child doesn't have a name. That child was born, died. It died at birth. The other child died a few days after it was born. And those 2 markers are on either side of the president and his wife. Between the president and his wife, there's a flame that burns called the Eternal Flame. It burns in memory of John F. Kennedy. Occasionally it gets blown out. It's powered by propane gas, and when it goes out, there's an automatic system that will reignite it in a couple seconds. So it burns all the time in memory of John F. Kennedy. As you come down the steps from where the grave sites are, there's a wall with inscriptions, engravings on the wall. Those engravings are pieces of speeches that John Kennedy gave while he was President of the United States. Okay? We'll walk around to it. There's a pretty cool story that goes along with this area right here. After Robert Kennedy was assassinated, they read his will. And in his will, he said, when I die, I want to be buried on the side of a hill next to a waterfall. And all I want is a small wooden cross to mark my gravesite. Well, his parents wanted him buried next to his brother because they were so close. When John Kennedy was the president, Robert Kennedy was the Attorney General. He headed up the Justice Department. So in order to accommodate his last wishes, his parents had him buried with that wooden cross at the bottom of this hill right here. And then in order to make the waterfall happen, if this was springtime, this reflecting pool would be full of water. And it would come up to that round barrier right there, and it'd drop over. And down inside, there's a drain. So that water recycles and comes back up underneath those inscriptions right there. So there's this constant waterfall that's falling over the end of this reflecting pool. And they've taken care of all of his last wishes and been able to bury him next to his brother. His brother's gravesite's behind that hedge right there. We've got to walk around to get to it. And the story that goes with it is a story about World War II. After Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and we declared war on Japan, there was a problem. The aircraft that we had could not fly from Hawaii to Japan and back. It couldn't carry enough fuel. So they had to find another place that they could use for the military. Well, the closest thing that they could see that was even, you know, a viable thing was an island about 500 miles off the coast of Japan called Iwo Jima. And on Iwo Jima, there's a volcano. It was extinct. It's called Mount Surbachi. Well, the Japanese military had entrenched themselves into that island. They had huge guns that were mounted high on the island to protect it. Plus, there was a whole bunch of Japanese military protecting the island because the island had 2 landing strips on it, and they were holding ammunition, they were holding guns, they were holding fuel. All that was being stored on the island, and the island had a tunnel base around it so that the Japanese military could move around underground and come up in different locations without being seen.
Well, the Navy brings in the Marine Corps, and they get up and they beach, and the Marine Corps invade the island. The Navy then pulls their ships out at gun range, way out into the ocean, and the Marine Corps begin a siege on this island. There's the statue on your left over there. The Marine Corps, this was one of the costliest battles in Marine history, in military history. The Marine Corps lost over 5,000 men. They were fighting for over a month trying to capture this island. And the Navy, when the Marine Corps, the signal was, when the Marine Corps secures the island, they'll go to the top of this volcano and they'll raise the American flag. They took an American flag off one of the ships. It was a big American flag, so you could see it. So they go up to the top of Mount Surbachi and they raise this flag up to let the Navy know that it's safe to come in now. We now control the island. Well, there was a photographer named Joe Rosenthal. He was entrenched embedded with the Marine Corps, and he was taking photographs. And he worked for a magazine called Life magazine. It was one of the most popular magazines in the United States at that time. But most people were getting a Life magazine delivered to their house. He took the picture, sent it back to his magazine, and they put it on the cover of their magazine and distributed it around the United States. It became the symbol of the Marine Corps. Okay. Then later on, after the war was over, a sculptor named Felix de Weldon decided to create this sculpture from that picture. And what we have today is the United States Marine Corps War Memorial. Right over here on the right-hand side, this is Fort Myer. This is an Army base. This is where the old Guard are stationed. As we make this left-hand turn, you're going to see more of Arlington Cemetery on the right-hand side. We're down behind the Lee Mansion. These are some of the oldest headstones in the cemetery. Most of them date back to the Civil War. There's a tower here on the left-hand side of the bus. It's a carillon. A carillon is a tower that has bells in it. Well, there's 36 matched bells in this tower, and it's called the Peace Tower. And it was a gift to the United States from the Netherlands after World War II. We went to the Netherlands and we helped secure their borders against invasion from Nazi Germany, and that was a gift to the United States from the Netherlands. We're coming up on the Marine Memorial. They just last year, around July, they just finished a complete renovation of this area. All the road is new around it. They replaced it all. They cleaned up the statue. It used to have a lot of green oxidation on it because it's bronze. And they added a couple new names. Around the base of that memorial are major battles that the Marine Corps have been involved in since they were founded. The Marine Corps was founded in 1775. And the newest ones are Iraq and Afghanistan. They're on this side of the memorial. Just to give you an idea how big this memorial is, that flagpole is 75 feet high. Straight down the river here to the left, you see those smokestacks and that harbor area. That's Georgetown right there. Yeah, if you look back to the left in a second or two, you'll see the steeples at Georgetown University. They're dark steeples back there. That's Georgetown University. This white building is the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. This building here on the left is the the National Institute for Peace. And it's kind of weird, you can't see it, but if you look at this piece that hangs over the front, it's actually the beak of a bird. And on the either side of it are two other ones that are kind of shaped like that, and they swing out to either side of the building. So when you fly over it, it looks like a dove. Okay? Yeah, it's United States Institute for Peace. You're going to get your first glimpse of the White House as we go down this street here. It's going to be on your left-hand side. Over here on the right, this tall monument on the hill is the Washington Monument.
Look, it's Washington Monument.
That's 555 feet, 5 1/8 inches high. Almost 40 stories, a little over 40 stories actually. The White House is coming into view here on the right-hand side. I'm sorry, on the left-hand side. Yeah, there's the National Christmas tree. You can see the red ribbons coming down it. And then behind it is the White House. This is the south front of the White House.
Oh, look, it's the White House. My mom was scared. Wait, it's like the trees in the way. It's the really okay. Look it up. Cleanliness. No, not you don't get up. She's there. Mr. President, I am.
Texture. If you go to Jefferson's home in Charlottesville, Virginia, it sits up on a small mountain called Monticello, and the entryway is that shape right there. This memorial was dedicated in 1943 by Franklin D. Roosevelt. It faces the White House. Inside this memorial is a sculpture of Thomas Jefferson. It's bronze, it's 19 feet tall, and on the walls around the memorial are inscriptions from documents that Thomas Jefferson had a personal hand in creating. Thomas Jefferson was our third president. Senate is in session, and that the flag tells me that the Senate's in session. If you look over on the right side, you see a bunch of scaffolding there with a flagpole. That's the House of Representatives, and there's no flag up there, so they're at recess right now.
Here we are at the Capitol building, guys.
This is why they call this place Capitol Hill, because you just hiked up Capitol Hill. Yeah, this used when they first decided to make the Capitol here, this was all farmland. A man named Jenkins owned all the land, and his house was right up here on top of this hill. Yeah, they bought all this property from Jenkins. Basically, what I want to show you here is this construction that they're doing right now. See how the building is a different color than the rest of it right here? Okay, this was added on after the Louisiana Purchase. When Jefferson bought all that property, the United States became over twice as big as it originally was, and that's when they said we're going to need bigger building to take care of the House and the Senate. Well, they added on this side, then they added on the Senate side. Now, what they did last year with the Senate side is they did what they're doing here, and they whitened it all up so it matches with the rest of the building. That's what's going on here. When they finish taking down all that scaffolding, this whole building will be one color. You won't see this dark color on the House of Representatives anymore. So that's what's going on there. Over there, I told you Thomas Jefferson, the Library of Congress. That's the Library of Congress. There's actually 3 buildings to it. That gold thing on the top of it, it's actually a torch. It's called the torch of knowledge. and that's the Jefferson Building. And then straight across the street on the right-hand side, that's the Adams Building, and then behind it is the Hamilton Building. There's 3 buildings that make up the Library of Congress. That building over there on the other side of the trees with the white columns in front of it, that's the United States Supreme Court building. Okay? All right, follow me. We're going to go into the building.
This museum is really good. So go around here and look around for a few minutes, okay? We'll let you know when we're going upstairs to the theater, okay?
Oh, there's been like hide over there. Why does this remind me so much of
Where I belong, the stage. So yeah, I realize I haven't been talking a lot in this vlog as I should, and that is because I feel like the tour guide will give more and better information than myself, obviously. But I'm here, I still exist, I'm still behind the camera. I may have said a couple things, but I haven't said a lot to like indicate that I'm narrating. I'm not. I say a couple things because I know history very well, because it's my favorite subject for a reason. But I feel like since he does this on a daily basis, he gives more information than I will. So that's just what I'm doing. Don't worry, I'm still here. So yeah, that's good.
Somebody dropped their little fuzzy thing on the ground.
Good afternoon. Hey, how is everyone doing today? Okay, that is good to hear. I welcome you to Ford's Theater. My name is Blakey. I am a park ranger here with the National Park Service. So yes, Ford's Theater is part of the National Park Service. Perhaps you didn't know that, some people don't. People think of the National Park Service, they usually think of nature, maybe Grand Canyon or Yellowstone perhaps, but the National Park Service also protects and interprets history, battlefields, historic homes, and historic sites like this one. Ford's Theater has been part of the National Park Service since 1933. Now, before I get started, there's one thing I'm going to ask of you, and that is please no flash photography. This is mostly because you could blind me, fall off stage, maybe get hurt. I don't think anybody wants to see that happen. Feel free to take photos, that's fine, just please no flash. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to begin by talking a little bit about the history of this building. So the building we are in now, this was not here before the Civil War. Originally what was here was a Baptist church. The church was abandoned and a theater owner from Baltimore, John T. Ford, bought the building. He converted it into a theater. It lasted only a year though as it burned down. He decided to rebuild, opening up this building in 1863. He called it the new Ford's Theater. And he claimed he could get 2,400 people in here. Now you look around, maybe you think to yourself, that seems impossible. Well, we would never put that many people in this building today. The most you'd ever have in here is about 650. Well, back then, they would have used both balconies. The second balcony had benches. The seats would have been smaller. They gave you less legroom. And they had standing room only, but also there were no fire codes in those days. So they could have squeezed as many people in here as they want to. Now, during the time of the Civil War, theater was different than what you see today. If you go to a play today, you're supposed to be respectful. You'll laugh and clap, of course, but you're really not supposed to get too loud or too wild. Well, audiences back then were more like what you would see today in a WWE wrestling event. Pretty much anything went in the theater. The audience would boo and hiss, stomp their feet, yell and shout, and even throw things at the actors on the stage. If you looked around the theater, you would see men chewing tobacco and then spit it on the floor. Try to do any of those things in a theater today, you're going to get kicked out. While theater was different than it is today, it was still very popular. Many people loved to go to the theater, and this included the President of the United States. Abraham Lincoln loved the theater, especially Shakespeare and comedy. Now, he went to Ford's Theater at least 8 times that we know officially. And whenever he came here to Ford's, they set aside a box for the President. On April 14, 1865, they decorated this box with American flags and a portrait of George Washington. And you might wonder, why would they put George Washington out there? Well, back then there was not a presidential seal they could just carry around. And Washington, just about everybody had a portrait of Washington in their home, and he represented the presidency because he was the first president. It told everyone then where Abraham Lincoln was going to be sitting. And this is how the box looked at the time. Now, before I get to that awful tragedy, you must understand why. To understand that, I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back 4 years earlier. It's November of 1860. Abraham Lincoln has just been elected President of the United States. But he was elected in a very divided time in our nation's history. So much so that a month after his election, South Carolina seceded. 6 more states followed. In March of 1861, Abraham Lincoln was sworn in as president. And there at the nation's capital, he talks about peace, tells the South he wants to be friends, not enemies, and he lays forth a vision of holding the nation together. But a month after he makes that speech, shots are fired on Fort Sumter, and then 4 more states seceded. At that point, war was inevitable. And it's going to be a war this nation had never seen and has never really seen since. Almost 700,000 dead. A nation truly divided. In some cases, it was brother against brother. And over the course of this 4 years of war, Abraham Lincoln is trying to navigate the country through it. But during this time, his vision evolves, especially on one of the major causes of the war, slavery. Now, he first decides to tackle this issue by signing the Emancipation Proclamation. And this freed enslaved people in states still in rebellion. But some argue to him that was a political move. He countered, though, that was all he could do to support it. He continued to push for the end of slavery. Finally, Congress will pass the 13th Amendment in January of 1865. That begins the process to end slavery. Now, by January 1865, Abraham Lincoln has been reelected by that point. He's coming into a second term where he sees the war coming to an end. Now he has to decide, how is he going to bring this nation back together? Well, there were a couple options he could have chosen. There were those out there that argued to him, blame the South, hang your leaders, and make them pay for this awful war. He could have chosen that. But what he talked about during his second inaugural address was something very different. On March 4th, 1865, Abraham Lincoln was sworn in for his second term as president. And at the nation's capital, he makes a very important speech. If you have never read the second inaugural address, I urge you at some point to read it. If you happen to be in Lincoln Memorial, it's written right on one of the walls. During this speech, he will say one line that perhaps some of you have heard: with malice towards none, with charity for all. This line is an olive branch he's giving to the South. He's saying he wants a peaceful reconciliation. But at the same time, during this speech, he talks about how slavery is dead. So he's saying the South, they can return peacefully, but they're not going to own people ever again. He made this speech. And the war does continue. But a month later, the Confederate capital, Richmond, falls. And then a week after that, General Robert E. Lee surrenders to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. At this point, people here in D.C., they think the war is over. People begin to celebrate. They have parties. They're not even shooting off fireworks. Some also will ask Lincoln to speak about this important event, and he does on April 11th at the White House. There he goes into more details about his plans for after the war, but this time he concentrates on the former enslaved. He believes they deserve rights, arguing that the African American soldiers deserve the right to vote. Controversial issue. And there were 3 men listening to that speech who did not agree with that idea. One of them turned to the other 2, reportedly used a racial slur, and then said, "That's it, I'm going to run him through. That is the last speech he will ever make." Now that man was John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth, he had a very different vision for this country. He thought slavery was a great thing. Writing it was God's gift to the South in a letter. And he sees Abraham Lincoln talking about freeing the former enslaved, giving him rights, and he's horrified. So yes, he's a racist. And that's why he hated Abraham Lincoln so much. But why does he choose killing the president? To understand that, you must know a little bit about who he was and what his plan was. So first off, who was John Wilkes Booth? John Wilkes Booth was born in Maryland to one of the most famous acting families of his generation. His father performed for presidents. His brother Edwin Booth was a noted Shakespearean actor who performed for the Queen of England. He grows up in their shadows, but by the age of 26, he's a star in his own right. He's mostly, though, performing in the South, and by this point, he's very much sympathetic to Southern culture. When the Civil War begins, he is pro-Confederacy, but does not fight. Instead, he stays on the sidelines. This all, though, will change in late 1864. As the war began to go badly for the South, John Wilkes Booth traveled to Montreal, Canada, and joined up with the Confederate spy network. Upon returning from Canada, he meets up with some like-minded conspirators, and then they plot, arguing to them that we need to kidnap the President of the United States. He says that's what the South needs now, more troops. You want to ransom them all for prisoners of war. So these like-minded men, they trap for Lincoln in March of 1865, but Lincoln's not there. They continue to plan, but then Richmond falls. Once that happens, Booth argues kidnapping Lincoln is not going to do any good. It is now time to kill the president. But it's more than just killing Abraham Lincoln. And today, what we would consider a terrorist act, John Wilkes Booth wants to take out what he thought was the 3 most important people in the United States government: President Lincoln, Vice President Andrew Johnson, and Secretary of State William Seward. He thought by killing these 3 men, he caused chaos in the North, and then allowed the Confederacy to come back in the war. Now, he could have killed Lincoln anywhere, but the place that he wanted to do it was a place that he loved, the theater. He knew Abraham Lincoln went to the theater, but did not know where or when. On the morning of April 14th, this all changed. During that morning, he's in Ford's Theater, he's getting his mail. Actors quite often got their mail in the theaters those days. As Booth was getting his mail, he overheard the news that President Lincoln and the hero of the Civil War, General Grant, are both coming to the theater that night. He realizes this is now his opportunity, but also he gets to add General Grant to his hit list. He leaves, eventually meeting up with 3 conspirators. The 4 of them plan, he assigns them tasks. One's going to take out the vice president, and the other 2 are going to kill the Secretary of State. Booth is reserving Lincoln for himself, in part because he hated him so much, but also he was the ideal candidate, as he knew Ford's Theater very well and had performed here before. As this night went on, all 3 of these attempts, they happened pretty much at the same time, but 2 were failures. William Seward, he was attacked, stabbed in the face, but he survived. As far as Andrew Johnson goes, though, he wasn't even attacked. The person who was supposed to kill him decided against it and didn't even try. Unfortunately, here at Ford's Theater, the 3rd attempt would be successful. But when the theater goers are entering into the theater, they have no idea what's going to happen that night. They're coming here for a comedy, Our American Cousin. Perhaps they want some laughter after this 4 years of awful war. But when the play begins, President Lincoln and his party, they're late. They arrive 30 minutes into the play. The party consists of Abraham Lincoln, his wife Mary, and 2 guests who are not the Grants. The Grants instead decided to see their children in New Jersey. So in their place, Mary invited a senator's daughter, Clara Harris, and her fiance, Major Henry Rathbone. Before them arrive, they enter the theater, they're escorted upstairs. As they're walking behind the audience on the balcony, an actress on the stage spots Lincoln and tells the orchestra to play Hail to the Chief. 1,700 people will rise in this theater, and they give the president an ovation. Lincoln makes his way into the box, acknowledging the audience by nodding, and then takes a seat. The play then continued. Sometime after that, John Wilkes Booth arrived. He follows the same path that Lincoln had just used. Goes up the same staircase, walks behind the audience, people do spot him, but no one thought anything of it, as he had been here many times before. John Wilkes Booth just casually walked to the box where there's only one man in between him and the president, a White House messenger. Booth pulled out a calling card and showed it to the man. Perhaps he was trying to use his fame to get in the box. Regardless, it worked. The messenger let him in. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, where was the Secret Service? Or why are there no bodyguards sitting? Well, first off, Secret Service really didn't exist, at least not the way we think of it. Up until 1902, the original job of Secret Service was to go after counterfeit money. It took 2 more presidential assassinations before they protected the president. Lincoln did have bodyguards, though, but the bodyguard's job is to get Lincoln from the White House to here and then back to the White House. In between, he doesn't have to stay. The fear is that Lincoln gets attacked in the street, not here. So his job isn't necessary to stay, and Lincoln actually tells him, go enjoy the play. So there's no one up there to stop you from just walking through the door. The door leads to a small hallway. Booth sees 2 more doors across from the hallway. The first one leads into the box where Lincoln's sitting. He sees Lincoln's there, and now he is going to wait. He is waiting for laughter to muffle the gunshot. He knows this play very well. He knows towards the end there's one line that will get a lot of laughter. So Booth waits in that hallway, and when he hears the line, he opens up the door, pulls out a 1-shot Derringer pistol, and he fired it in the back of Abraham Lincoln's head. One of the first people to realize what has occurred is Major Henry Rathbone. Rathbone, being a soldier, he knows a gunshot. He's right across from Lincoln. And he hears the shot, he gets up, sees Booth, tries to grab him, but Booth pulls out a dagger and he stabs Rathbone in the arm twice, knocking him down. Booth jumps out of the box. He lands on the stage. He gets up. Perhaps he realizes this might be the last time he's ever on stage, and he wants to make one final performance. He gets near the center, pulls the bloody dagger over his head, and shouts, Sic semper tyrannis. This is Latin. It means thus, always the tyrants. Now, he uses this line because he's echoing back to the most famous assassination in world history of Julius Caesar. There in ancient Rome, the assassins, the senators, including Brutus, when they stabbed Caesar in the back, they supposedly shout the same line. So Booth is trying to tell everyone, I am like Brutus, a hero who just saved the South from a dictator. Booth then runs out the back into an alley, will get on a horse, and rides south. As he is leaving the theater, shouts and cries start coming from the box. The audience, realizing what has occurred, erupts into chaos. 30 feet away from Lincoln on the balcony is Dr. Charles Leo. Dr. Leo makes his way into the box. He's the first doctor there. He checks on the president, but when he finds the wound, he knows there's nothing he can do. Lincoln's dying. They quickly realize they do not want Abraham Lincoln to die here on the floor of a theater. I mentioned to you a little bit what theaters were like in those days. They don't consider this a very respectful place for the President of the United States to die. So instead, they carry Lincoln down the stairs, out into the street. The doctor realizes he's never going to make it to the White House. They look across the street where there are boarding houses. Out of the Peterson boarding house will come Henry Sackler. He sees what has happened and he tells the men, bring him in here. They bring Lincoln up the stairs into the Peterson boarding house. They bring him in the back bedroom, lie him on the bed. His wife, Mary, is with him most of the time here, and she checks on her husband a couple times in the back room, but she does not stay. She's in shock, intense grief. She's mostly going to stay in the front room, comforted at times by her son, Robert Todd Lincoln, who arrived from the White House. Others arrive as well. Members of cabinet, including Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. With the Vice President under guard and the Secretary of State injured, Stanton's next in line in the cabinet. He takes charge of the government. He also will begin the investigation into this crime. And the manhunt for Booth will begin. They are also having a vigil across the street, one that lasts about 8 hours. Until finally, on the morning of April 15th at 7:22, Abraham Lincoln breathed his last. The manhunt for his killer continued. It took them 12 days, but they tracked him down, hiding out in a tobacco barn near Port Royal, Virginia. The cavalry surrounds the building, even setting it on fire, but Booth refused to surrender. One of the soldiers there, Boston Corbett, he's looking into the barn. He thinks Booth is about ready to fire at the other soldiers, so he takes the first shot, hitting Booth in the neck. It paralyzed him. They drag him out of the barn, where he will say, "Tell mother I died for my country." He lasts a couple more hours, and then he asks the soldiers to lift his hands. He looks at his hands and says, "Useless, useless," and dies. In many ways, Booth's final words symbolizes who he was and what he accomplished. One could argue he was useless. His plan was, yes, he killed Abraham Lincoln. But what did he really accomplish? Not his goals. The North does not go into chaos, nor does the Confederacy come back in the war. Also, what did he do for the country? The plans that Abraham Lincoln had laid out during the Second Inaugural Address, they don't come to pass. This period known as Reconstruction was a bit of a mess. There were no winners or losers. Could Lincoln have succeeded if he had lived? We don't know. In part because of what Booth did to them. John Wilkes Booth thought he was going to be a hero after killing Lincoln. But history remembers him as a villain. There are no monuments to him. He lies in an unmarked grave. While Lincoln is remembered by many as one of our greatest presidents. There's monuments to him throughout this country. One on his very grave in Springfield, Illinois. Lincoln Memorial not far away from here as well, but also this building is a memorial to Abraham Lincoln. At first, though, that wasn't the case. A couple months after the assassination, John T. Ford wanted to reopen this building as a theater, but he was met with outrage. A mob forms outside this building, threatening to burn it down. The military then comes in. They close the theater and confiscate the building. To save this building, the military turns it into a department for war pension for offices, excuse me, for pension records. So they use it for pension records, and then in 1893, there's a second tragedy in the building. The inside of it collapsed, killing 22 workers. After that tragedy, they continue to use the building. And then, but people begin to, they repair it and use it, but people begin to question, why is this not a place to remember Abraham Lincoln? It's slow at first, turned into a museum, given to the Park Service, but then in 1968, it's restored, opened as an historic site, and a working theater. So yes, you can see a play here at Forest Theater. We have 4 productions a year. We do this in part to honor Abraham Lincoln, as he loved the theater and probably will enjoy people returning here to see plays. Right now we have Christmas Carol going on, that's the set you see. Still, while we do that, we must remember this is hollow ground. As this was the place where Lincoln was shot, but also a tragic moment in our nation's history, where we lost the plans that Lincoln had laid out after the war. Where he talked about with malice towards none, with charity for all, there's a vision he had for this country, and one that was lost here that night. I thank you very much for listening. If anyone has any questions, just come up to the stage. I'll be happy to answer anything. Your ticket also gets you into the Peterson House across the street. So feel free to head on over there. But as you cross the street, though, please watch the traffic because it might not stop you. Otherwise, have a great day.
Things about leadership, about what happened after the Civil War, and how things might have been different if he had survived, and what we can learn about the importance of leadership. It is a strange floor, isn't it? You like it? I think you're going to be off of it in a minute.
Which way do we go?
You can go look in there, or then we can continue this way. If you're curious, you can go in there. That was the train that would take him home.
Oh my god, is that his coffin?
When you sink so far on your credit card, you're reduced to Subway for dinner. Honestly, why?
Are we gonna be famous?
What is this? I expected a room of frozen stuff.
There's snow. You guys want to touch the snow?
Is this real?
Yeah, that's definitely right.
Oh, that is real.
It's lit.
It looks so big. It's
What's up?
I'm coming.
Enjoy.
You are gonna feel thankful. You're gonna feel. You could feel. Oh my God! Is this? Oh yeah, oh this is real ice. This is real ice.
This is?
Okay. Yes. Oh, this is real ice. Real ice.
No! I got food coloring!
You can see my hair. Wait, does that mean that they're carved out of ice?
Yeah, this says food coloring. Yeah.
How do you know?
This is food coloring on it.
Oh, it does. Oh, God, this is so nice.
It's disgusting. John, are you cold yet?
Literally, why?
It smells like strawberries. I don't know why.
I smell strawberries and raspberries.
You smell wrong.
Can I lick the ice? I just smell ice. That's all I smell.
Wait, Sam!
Are we going on the ice slides, guys?
Sorry. And
What do you mean wind? There's wind? I might be thankful for this jacket after all. Yeah. But it still hurts.
well,
my
the only
arms-
thing that's freezing is my face and my legs.
Same.
Oh, guys, look.
I'm thankful after all for this jacket, but it's still, it's a pain to move.
I bet that's nice.
Christmas, win money, money, money. Spectacular super Boston neighborhood. Christmas lights and display.
That's so cool. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's my smoke. I'd say the ice slide.
The ice slide.
My hands are sore.
My hands are like
Charlie Brown.
Good for you. Slide down. One person can't slide down.
That's gonna be me. I'm telling you right now, that's gonna be me.
One person can't slide down.
What? With what? She's on an ice stick. I don't know.
Oh look, it says clear ice.
Look, go experience the ice is 6 foot where you can fall.
What? Why? Yeah, that's great information to put there. We know what ice is.
I'll be okay.
We're not 2-year-olds. Well, she probably is.
Don't jump over me. That's cracking.
No offense.
It's creaking. It's wobbly.
You'll experience extreme cold. No dip. What? Stop!
Hold on. You guys are next. You three?
Oh yeah, we'll go down at the same time.
Okay, wait right here.
I'm not gonna slide down. It's gonna be so bad.
Make sure you sit on your parka.
I'm not gonna slide down. Woo! This is gonna be so bad. Oh wow! Wow! Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Rosalie Lily, was I wrong? Wasn't I wrong? Wasn't I freaking wrong? It's not funny. I hate all of you. I hate everyone for that. Wasn't I right? I was right. Wasn't I right? I wasn't wrong.
You are the bumpy one. Or you're too big for me.
Oh, wow.
It's still so cold. I am frostbite.
Again, my ego went down 100 notches. I've already hit rock bottom too, so I don't know what's left to lose at this point. At least I get to see mist.
Well, try turning blue.
You're what?
Try turning blue.
I might be turning blue. Mine does too. I feel like I could be hit with a hammer and just explode.
The thing is, I'm not dumb. It hurts.
Christmas trees. That's exactly what I want to see after I got stuck on the freaking ice slide.
Get stuck on the ice side of the shimmy down. Only I got down for that. You guys ready?
Exit. My phone is about to So we just got back from the bus.
I hate the strawberry milk.
You're the one who brought it.
I look horrible on film. I'm sorry. I look better.
You look fine.
Thank you.
You look fine, Rosalind. It's me that looks terrible. I actually think I look really good right now, which is a first. Oh, thank you.
Especially since we're going through the city. It's like perfect modern look.
Wait, what?
What?
What'd you? Oh, I know what you said.
What do you think about it?
Oh my god.
If someone asks me what, I wait a bit to see if they'll like register in their heads.
It's like what with WT? WT.
So, lots of us got souvenirs from the places that we went.
I'm wearing mine.
Yeah, she's wearing hers. What? You left your what on the bus? I thought you had it in your hand.
No, my bag with my sweatshirt.
Oh, that bag.
Yeah,
As much as I love spinning, I want to show you guys what I got. So, first off, I would like to point out, government, don't come for me, but I am Nicolas Cage. I stole the Declaration of Independence. So I got a copy of that. Oh no, should I show this? You guys know. They know what this is. You guys know what this is. They don't, obviously. You guys know this. Should I show this on camera, because I am posting it before Christmas? Oh, you don't. She does. I know Rosalind does.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah. So do you think I should show this now, because this vlog is going up before Christmas? So my mom doesn't watch my videos anyway. Reality. So we're going to the Holocaust museum tomorrow, and I'm gonna get my dad something for Christmas. And what?
We got our noses frozen off.
We go tomorrow. Oh yeah, she got that. Oh, it matches my aesthetic. So I got my mom this box, if it'll open. It is a Christmas ornament. Hang on. That says Ice 2018 on it. Because we just got a new Christmas tree, as you guys saw on my Instagram, and I thought my mom would like this, so I got her that. I got this book from the Ford's Theater because I'm very interested in like Abraham Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth. Lots of words, but I'm actually very excited to read that. What do you mean try to read? I've read thicker books than this before. I hated it, but like I said, now I have an interest that I like. And then we went to a place where she got that sweatshirt. Turn around. Where she got that sweatshirt, I got this t-shirt that says Washington Army, because like even though I got another shirt, which is a Ford's Theater shirt, I wanted one that said Washington on it, because this is the DC trip after all. None of us have a spoon. Stop asking us this.
I just want a spoon.
And then I got a Ford's Theater shirt.
That's what I wanted to do. Look at the
I also got this.
Literally everyone's dressed except not dressed. Except
What do you? Oh wow, thanks. I'm just gonna sleep in my Under Armour.
And me.
I'm just gonna sleep in my Under Armour. I'll just have to take off my.
Can you come with me, please?
Hang on.
Okay.
I'll just take off my sweater. I'm sleeping in my Under Armour.
I need like.
And then I got this. It took me forever to find a good one. It says the National World War II Memorial, Washington D.C., with some of the structures on it. There you go. You guys can see it there. So that's all I got. So wait, did you just get the plush? Is that all you got?
Didn't shave before use, but yeah.
Yeah, but she also got the American earrings.
Oh yeah, she got the cool earring. Show them.
Yes.
Yes. And Destiny, what'd you get? Did you only got the sweatshirt, right? Yeah, she got a Washington D.C. sweatshirt like hers. But dark blue. Oh wow, well I still am, because I just like this look.
Well, I'm not like anything, but I'm unicorn stuff here.
I need to show too.
Just then go. So yeah, that's everything I got.
Check to see if we're all the real.
Well, she needs a buddy. She needs to go. Someone needs to go with her.
You're the only one who has a fittable attire to go with her.
Of course. I'll be right back. Tomorrow is where we go to the Holocaust Memorial. We go to the Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah.
All of us are here. We'll go to the Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Holocaust Museum, and Memorial. And we're also going ice skating.
You forgot Mount Vernon.
That too, Mount Vernon. Mount Vorman.
Vernon.
Vernon! Jesus Christ.
He's yelling.
So that's the stuff. That's what's happening tomorrow. So that wraps it up for this part. This is day 1 of the video.
It's day 2. We spent one day just driving.
Exactly. And I filmed that, and so this is day 1 of this.
Filming the entire drive.
Yes, I did. You know this. Did you not?
How was your phone alive?
How was my phone alive? Because I actually had a charger in the car. Because, yeah, you guys saw my phone die because it froze while we were in there.
You can take your shower first because I want
Okay.
to know how the shower works before I actually try.
You do not know how a shower works? Did you literally just say you don't know how a shower works?
You know when you go to a friend's house and like the shower looks like airplane.
What?
It looks like airplane controls, and you're like, how do I
Please continue.
How do I not turn on the back? How do I aim this? Does this come off? Can I move it? How do I change the temperature of the water? I have a simple one of them is red and one of the knobs is blue, and you have to turn one of them.
You do not know what hot and cold means. Did you not play that game as a kid?
I don't know. Okay, let me see this shower. You're still taking the shower first.
I don't care. I don't care. Oh my god, what is going on? So I'm going to wrap up this video before that happens again. So I hope you guys enjoyed day 1.
I don't know how to use the shower.
I need to help her fix the freaking shower. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All my stuff will be at the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed day 1. Day 2 starts tomorrow. So I love you guys. I will see you in my Showstoppers in the next one. Bye.
Guess you stay with me. I'm alright. I wanna hold ya. I wanna hold ya. Your double set lips, blue eyes, black skinny jeans, and every room you walk into, you're always